you're in this black hole where you could give me $1 million and it wouldn't change my situation. That's a fucked up situation to be in where $1 million can't change that shit. You could bring back everybody that ever died in my life and it wouldn't change the situation. It's a fucked up situation to be in if that wouldn't change it. All of these things could go to I could be with the girl of my dreams in the house of my dreams, with the car of my dreams, and nothing would change how I feel about myself. As human beings, usually we can put it on other people. It's like, yeah, my girl did this. Oh, this nigga did this. Oh, my teacher did this. When you get to a place where nobody can do absolutely anything and you would still just feel like you like just a piece of shit, you're right there. Like you're right next to that point where shit may start getting real dark.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today, man, we got a very special guest. He's an extremely talented artist. We were just going over the tiers and shit. He was stamped early on by Cole Bennett, and man, the creator of It Was Fun While It Lasted. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
My name is Kayo, and he explained it all.
That's all you got for the people, bro?
The creator of It Was Fun While It Lasted, the creator of Southside Blue Hearts. Stamped by myself first, but Cole Bennett definitely did do a stamp later on.
Hey, he's got quite the story, like for real, and we're gonna go over it right now. But first, I want to, touch on the post-album release, bro. How's it been going? You've been doing hella shows. I know previously you mentioned that the pre-rollout at this level it's not that important. So, how have you seen the post-album release go?
We didn't learn that the post release was the most important until post release. Like, literally, we had many ideas for the pre-release for like the marketing and all of that, and I'm not gonna say they all fell through, but they weren't as fruitful as we assumed they would be. It wasn't until the album dropped and it was like, okay, it's the day of drop, and you're seeing like in Spotify, you can see like the people listening now, and it's like this many people listening now. So it's like it's cool, but it's not what we need. And then one small thing would just like boost it by extreme numbers. Even recently, like a few days ago, No Way Home, which is the joint with my brother, Elijah LaFleur, had like a random spike in streams. I ain't gonna say the number because I know it may not be much for some people out there, but for what we did on the album so far, which is 100K, it was a crazy number, like a crazy number. And I'm like, dang. And I'm looking to see like if it's, you know what I'm saying, like some fishing playlists or something. And it was from Spotify Radio, which is like just like an algorithmic playlist that just caters to like the listener. So, but all of that comes from that post release kind of thing. So yeah, post release been great. We've been doing shows, we've been doing the shoots, the videos. Haven't dropped, to my knowledge, we haven't dropped one full music video yet. So to even have this reception without dropping a full music video yet is crazy. But we taking it day by day.
I've seen it a lot myself. When it comes to previewing an episode or, trying to get people excited, people's attention goes like that.
Right. Facts.
So
Facts.
if you show them something 2 days before it's supposed to drop, they probably
They don't
forgot
care on
about
the
it by
day
the
of.
day it comes out.
Facts.
That's why every time I promote an episode, I'll post the day of, and that's it.
That's
I'll
it,
promote
yeah.
it for a whole week and then
Mhm.
move on.
Yeah.
So I understand you when it comes to the pre-rollout versus the post.
Right.
How have the shows been for you, though?
I kind of call them trainings. Like that's what I've been calling these recent shows. It was really like a tour of Chicago for real, for real. Like 5 shows. The sixth one well, 5 shows within this span. We've done like 10 this year, but 5 shows within this little span. And the sixth one will be on the 15th, July 15th, up at Shuba's.
How many times you done Shubas, bro?
I've done Shuba's 5 times by itself. Like last year and this year for sure. Maybe even more, but at least like 5 that I could tell you off the top of my head.
I
Yeah.
bring up these shows because I always see you on them, bro. I've seen your
Yeah.
name like come up like you said, like 6 different times on
Right.
different flyers.
Man.
So I'll be like, damn, I
We
got my eye
working,
out
bro. We
there.
trying to be outside for it. Like I literally told my team, like my management team, I was like, I don't even have any numerical goals, none of that. Like if we hit 1 million on the album, It's a great chance that we will, but I couldn't care less if we didn't.
Why is that?
I kind of treat the music how I treat my money. Like I just try to stack as much as I can, and then I'll look at the numbers later. But it's like just spend as little as you can, stack as much as you can. That's how I look at the music. And I told my team, I was like, on December 31st, the night before New Year's Eve, I want us to be like, there wasn't another ounce of anything that we could have gave to this shit. If we do that, I'll be content with whatever the results are. You know what I'm saying? So just try not to get caught up in the actual numbers of it all. Because sometimes the numbers are fickle. Like I had an exec, I ain't gonna say from which label, but I had an exec reach out from one of my songs, and it literally is the least streamed song on my Spotify. Like the least streamed song. And he reached out like, yo, blank record is super, super fire. Let's chop it up. And I'm like, it's just weird how that works. And like that just kind of taught me how the numbers they mean a lot, and you know what I'm saying, like they make you feel good, but very often it don't mean the most, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like as long as you putting your best foot forward, you getting as much content as you can out there, like shit will start coming together slowly.
And I get you with the numbers thing, right? Because I can have a great interview. I can tell a whole story throughout the whole thing. But sometimes the views aren't there, right? Sometimes it won't hit 100. Sometimes they will hit 1,000, especially the reels that you don't even think will blow up. They hit 1 million. And then there's one reel that you thought was really dope, but it only hit like 200
On
views.
God, facts.
So not looking at the numbers because it's not really important, because once you hit that number, that feeling that you get from that number, it's not what you imagined it would feel like anyways.
That's a super fact I could tell you from the album.
When our reel with OG Stevo it hit 1 million, I was anticipating it for days. I saw it go up 100,000 each day. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it. And when we finally hit it, I didn't even notice. I wasn't checking anymore. I was like, all right, whatever, it's gonna hit, and it hit. And it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, like this is the best feeling in the world, like most people would expect. No, it's like, all right, let's keep on doing what we're doing, right? So when I think about the numbers and shit, right? I think about that, but when it comes to like an album, bro, I think about that shit. I'm like, man, especially an album like It Was Fun While It Lasted.
But that's an album that literally, I think that's a slow burning album, in a sense of like that's not an album that's just gonna catch immediately, but that's an album when like that's why I keep telling people. I was just telling my guy Third, I'm like, these songs that I'm dropping, I just dropped. I plan on dropping again, July 14th, I believe is the date, or July 12th, something. Um, Plan on dropping again in August, September. And I was saying these singles and these EPs that I plan on dropping are all promotion for It Was Fun While It Lasted. Like everything go like that's not leaving my bio until the next album drops. And it's like that's one of those, like they call them like a magnum opus. Like just that work that at some point you're gonna look back on it like, damn, we didn't know this was gonna come from that.
I want to tell you what went through my mind when I saw it, right? The title, It Was Fun While It Lasted. Just like you mentioned before, it reminded me of all the good and all the bad that's happened and accepting it and being like, yeah, it was cool. It was fun while it lasted. I know your girl's in the room right now, but for me, how many girls I've thought about that shit, right? It's like, damn, all right, it was fun while it lasted. I know you hate me now, but it
Hmm.
be like that.
Right.
That's one of those things that, like, when we look back, it's gonna be like, damn, we didn't know it would be like that.
Hmm.
For you, that's what this title was.
Absolutely.
This title was created before everything was put together.
Facts.
The album had a whole different iteration of itself because of the place you were in your
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
So talk about that, right? Talk about the original meaning of the album and what it really meant to you at first.
The title of the album is talking about the album itself almost, because like you said, there was a whole nother version of it in the first place. So it's like even to my own music, I'm saying it was fun while it lasted. Like just to the version that I had. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that title, one, it came like I kind of reverse engineered it. Like I thought of the title before the project was done. And because of that, I feel like in a way I kind of manifested what the project was about to be about, because that title, like, it just came to me, and it came to me years ago, like years ago, and I wrote it down in my journal. This is gonna be the name of my debut album. And I was so mad, actually. We were just talking about Kaylani off air. She dropped the album called It Was Good Until It Wasn't, or something like that. And I was so pissed. I'm like, like, it was like too close for comfort, but not close enough to say I was biting off of it. So I was like, cool. But I knew, like, nah, I got to get this shit out like quick, because it started, like, I believe, I'm not spooky, but I do believe that thoughts kind of go up into the atmosphere and anybody can pull down from them at any given time. That's just the nature of creativity. But yeah, it was basically exactly what you're saying, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and just looking back on everything, music included, my old self included, my old relationships included, like all of that, and saying it was fun while it lasted. To use Kaylani's version, it was good until it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And it's like being cool with that, being okay with that. At first, the album was a depressing ass album titled It Was Fun While It Lasted, on some sad shit. But then after a while, I changed the project and I had like brighter chords and I had higher points to the project, and it kind of gave the title new meaning without me having to change the title. It was fun while it lasted, but now it was like, damn, like how you saying, like, damn, it was fun while it lasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got that good out of it. So that's that title.
How did you notice things start to change as time went on? Both, right? Because this album was really detailed as like a journal. It read like a journal. It sounded like that shit.
Things changed musically, obviously, in making a project, and then things change after the project was out. So that's why I kind of asked what you mean, because it's crazy, because my life post project, like post the album dropping, was also another, like a whole nother iteration of It Was Fun While It Lasted. Because all of these things that I used to be like, damn, I wish I could do this, that, and the third. We was also talking about this off air. It was like I did it, and then it was like that shit wasn't really, you know what I'm saying, like, worth what I thought it was gonna be worth. Like, I thought that my first whatever many streams was gonna be like the biggest moment in the world, and I was gonna be having champagne and a big party, and it was like, oh, well, that was cool. I mean, same house, same clothes, same hat on my head. And it was like, not to be like pessimistic or anything, but it was like that was one change of just all of that growth that I thought I wanted, and all those things that I thought I wanted, realizing you didn't. But then pre-album, I was just kind of maturing through everything. Like, I went through a really, really, really depressive bout where I was just battling myself and my inner thoughts. And over time, I kind of grew in this place where I heard somebody say something. I ain't even gonna say the name. You for sure know the name, but because it's a little bit cancelable, I ain't gonna say their name. But they were like, depression. They told me to my face. They was like, depression is the biggest sign of ingratitude. And I was like, at first I'm like, no, it's not, nigga. It's like some clinical, like, nah. But it kind of sat in my, like, in my heart and in my spirit, like, damn, am I just being ungrateful for everything that I do have? And it actually helped me. I know that is not the advice to give to, there are some people out there, like, don't take that advice and run with it. But for me, it was like, it actually changed everything. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm not really, like, I'm sad sometimes, but I'm not depressed. I'm not down on my luck. I'm not none of those things. Like, I lost the car, I bought a new one. I lost this girl, I got a new one. And now I'm with her, probably forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like everything that I thought I lost came back tenfold. And everything that you think you lose usually comes back tenfold if you would just change your perception and look at it from a different angle. And it's like, damn, life is actually way better than it was, or has the potential to be way better than it was, if I just changed my perception. So that probably was the biggest growth point for me, both personally and musically.
That's what you got to do sometimes, right? Shift that perspective. Because when you shift that perspective, okay, now you're looking through a better lens. It's like changing your glasses out. You get new ones every year. I get new ones every year, right? Changing your glasses out, you realize life's not so bad. It's not as bad as I'm making it seem to be. I just gotta change the way that I look at it. But that's another conversation
For
that we're
sure.
gonna get into later, man. What do you feel like was the moment that changed the meaning of the album for you?
I was listening to the like the masters of the project, and I'm listening and I realized that, like I said, it was supposed to be like a depressing project at first. And when Wait on Me came on, I'm like, yo, this is a happy ass project. Like, if you flip it and do this shit backwards, this starts off like a kumbaya high school musical ass project. Like, if you do the songs in a backwards order, and then it would just end with a depressing ass song versus starting with one. And I'm like, damn, like it reminded me of Damn, like the Kendrick project. Like, I'm like, wow, like there's a reverse meaning to this. Like, this project is not a depressing project at all. Like, God used me to, like, I thought that I was just making this sad project, or not even a sad project, but just this project about my life, my ups and downs. And it was like God used me for something I didn't even know I was being used for. And it was like the whole meaning was, for lack of a better term, I wish I had better words, but the whole like meaning was really like, nigga, get over yourself. Like, and I didn't even realize I was being used to get that point across. But upon listening to the masters in order, so from track one to I think like track 12, it was like, oh, nigga, get over yourself. Like, life is great. You got a nephew now, you have like a future wife, you have like this new job, you are living in a new home, a better home, the home that you always dreamed of, or the area that you always dreamed of living in downtown. Like, it's like life got really good for you. Like, yeah, you had some downs, you lost your grandpa, you lost your uncle, you lost this, you lost that, but you had some crazy ups.
I took 4 songs that really, like, blew me away, and what's gonna happen is I want you to tell me the stories of these songs and how these songs helped you make it through that period of your life. I feel like the reason I resonated with this album so much was I love projects that tell stories. It kind of reminds me of the Giveon album, the last album he put out. And in that album, he's detailing kind of all these different relationships he goes through. And in the beginning, it's really sad. Like, he has this song called Scarred where he's saying that, I'm not over this relationship, so I can't give you more. And by the end of the album, it's like track number 10, it's called Remind Me. And he's saying that you remind me of me when I was hurting other people because I wasn't healed.
Cool.
So from track 2 to track 10,
That
it's
boy's
this
spitting.
revelation of like, I'm healed now from where I was at the beginning of this project. So the first track I took was When I Grow Up.
To me, that's the best written song on the project because I had so much to get off because it was the first song. By the last song, which would be like Wait on Me, I didn't really have much more to get off on my chest. So it was just kind of talking about a very specific topic. But When I Grow Up goes from relationships to school to living in Florida to dropping out of school to living dreams to me breaking up with the group I was in to, like, it covers damn near the entire project in that like 2 minute song. And a lot of people don't really notice it. But if you listen closely, everything I talk about on a project, I talk about on When I Grow Up. Um, so that's kind of the story behind that. Like, it was the first song, and it was the song that I really got to get my shit off on.
So why'd you put it last?
It was the intro at first, but sonically it fitted better as the last song. Especially after we had the choir come in, and it was like, nah, hell nah, this has to go last. But it actually started like the project started with like a door opening, like a, and then it was like dropping out didn't mean much to you know what I'm saying? Like, it started almost like a talent show.
The reason I took this song was because I really listened in depth to it. It's really taking ownership of your positions in life, not blaming everybody for what's happened in your life and the situations you've been placed in. I mean, you even say, right? Don't nobody care about the odds you face. You better start searching, get you a purpose. Ain't nobody willing to find you one. You better off looking inside you, huh?
Teesh. Yeah, that's a bar.
How did things change for you once you changed your mindset?
I had anger issues for a long time, like a long time. Um, she'll probably say I still got them, but I used to get like just irrationally angry, but at myself. Like, it's people that be mad at the world. I'm like or I used to be like a self-deprecating person. Like, I'll get mad at, like, I'll sit in the crib bashing myself as if I'm my worst enemy. Um, so things are kind of progressively changing. And this is a part that a lot of like fans, so to speak, don't really get to hear, like to see the person themselves. You just hear like music is good, show is good, oh, he's smiling, oh, he has such a great personality. But more often than not, a great personality is kind of covering, you know what I'm saying? Like just some dark emotions somewhere inside of there. And yeah, shit was bad. Like niggas was in crippling debt and dropped out of school, out of high school as a junior. So it was like like if this music shit don't work, I am done for. Like I am smoked. So it's like, nah, you really like I really had to change a lot, and I'm still changing. Like I'm still trying to grow out of that scarcity mindset and that gotta do it now mindset, and that if I don't do it this, like if this year not my year, then I'm gonna fail forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still trying to grow out. So I'll have a different answer to that question, honestly, if you ask me in like a month. Then I'll have a different one the next month. But as of right now, like it's progressively gotten better. Like I'm slowly changing my mindset, and it'll just fix small things.
So where do you feel like that hate for self came from?
It came from outside voices, honestly. Like I've always been very confident in myself and who I was as a person, but I was always good at rapping, but I was the last one to believe it. I was in a group called New World, and I wasn't the front runner for the group. Not that you have to be the front runner of a group, but over time, like I remember we'd get booked for shows, and like the two main artists of the group would be the only ones performing the show and shit. And it's like niggas would just be sitting, you know what I'm saying, like hype man basically. And in my head, I'm like, dog, I'm like Jay-Z with this shit. Like this is what I'm thinking in like sixth grade, fifth and sixth grade. And I'm like I should be doing something. Of course, at that time I didn't understand, dummy, you don't have an album out. You don't have nothing to perform. Like I'm thinking I can just go up there and just do acapellas for 10 minutes straight. So hindsight is always 2020, you know what I'm saying? So now I disagree with my old self, but my old self is like, man, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And seeing how they and people around didn't see who I was, the way that I saw myself, it made me start believing him. And it made me start being like, damn, maybe this music shit not for me. Damn, maybe I should just go do this. Damn, maybe I should be in the music business. And it just made me kind of look down on myself. And then that's the music side. On the flip side, right, you got two routes to success. You can either do some dope independent shit, or you could take the usual route, which is go to college, get a degree, and then do something that your degree is in. Sometimes those two merge, right? So like sometimes people's passion is law, doctor, whatever, whatever. But that's another conversation. But it was like I tried that side. I was getting my shit treated on that side. So then on this, like on the education side, it was like I wasn't the number one in that shit either. So it was like being second in both of your fields, it was like, damn, like this life shit kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned at a young age that life is very, very hard and it's filled with challenges. When you see people that are arrogant, so to speak, or I mean conceited, like whatever term, 10 times out of 10, that person was the most shitted on person you've ever seen in your life before they had a moment that made them confident in themselves. And they kind of make like a subconscious vow to never get that low on themselves again. I am at this constant place of being humbled and grateful for the love, but also seeing some people that it be coming from. And it's like, I reached out to your ass for a session like 100 times and you never responded. Like I should smack you right now. And it's like I'm wrong for sure, but it's like that's just the natural way of things.
Nah,
You know what
it
I'm
be like
saying?
that,
Like,
bro. It be like that. Especially like when you know, when you both know, like,
yeah,
yo, like, we could have made this shit happen a while
a while
ago.
ago. Right. Yeah, you want to act some type of way. You wanted to be on another nigga coattail, which is cool. But now I have to allow the God in me to rise to say people make mistakes, people, and nobody owes you anything. Like nobody owes you to listen to this podcast, just like nobody owes me to listen to my music. And it's like if one day Lil Shorty come up to you like, man, I'm your biggest fan, and you like, man, I tried to do this, that, and the third, and you wasn't. It's like you can take the bitter route and be like, you don't have a chance of coming up to this bitch talking to me. Or you can say, look, I had to prove myself. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Charge it to the game. That's what I'm trying to take. I'm not the most successful at it, but that's the route that I'm trying to take with it.
So what we gotta touch on real quick, right?
Uh
New World.
oh.
It
Oof.
was New World KO for a minute.
It was.
What caused the switch?
Egos, stubbornness, um, insecurities.
What do you feel like you weren't getting from them? Because like you said, right, there's the two people headlining and I'm just in back.
Interestingly enough, those are like my relatives, like my cousins. Um, well, two are my cousins. One is my blood brother, who's now goes by Elijah LaFleur. Um, one is Simi, who's just a homie, and then the other is D-Ro, who's my videographer. By the way, D-Ro, I put him up against any name a rapper, he's out rapping him, myself included. But yeah, not even it wasn't the negative energy from them. Like I take full accountability. It was the negative energy that existed in gen. Like we all six of us were contributing. Spell check. I dropped out as a junior, or I mean word check. Contributing right to this environment of just kind of tit for tat and trying to be first to do something. And I remember I was bringing up the fact that I was working with Cole Bennett, and I ain't gonna say their names because I don't want to mess up their opportunity to work with Cole Bennett. But one of the homies was from New World was like, "Man, they ain't gonna do shit for you," and I'm like if it don't, it don't. But damn, at least give it you know what I'm saying? Like this is a big opportunity for me, and it was like just kind of trying to manage personalities and manage six different egos because be clear, nobody is guilty of having an ego more than another person. It was six different egos, but some people feel that their egos are more justified than others. For example, I'll throw myself in the fire. I'll be Jesus to your point. I'll be Jesus. I feel like right now in a lot of situations when I deal with some of the homies, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. I am. The ego sometimes is justified. Like now it's like you're not gonna play with me now. Cause certain shit is like I'm just not doing. Like there's no chance of me doing this song that I don't like. Like now that could ruin the brand and ruin actual real opportunities for me to change my life. Like I can't do whereas I would have did it like last year or 2 years ago, I can't do that now. So sometimes the egos do be justified, but at that time nobody's egos was justified whatsoever.
I mean, it's like me, right? I can't do certain interviews anymore because if I do them, it fucks up the whole brand I built for years at this point.
That's just the positions that you find yourself in as you growing on this journey. And I still got so far to go. Like I've only taken like half a step, not even a full step to where I want to go. So yeah, like now certain egos be justified, but at that time the egos weren't justified, and it was a lot of like I feel like sometimes, well, yeah, the egos weren't justified. It was a lot going on. It was a lot of messy shit going on, and just people having different ideas of how they felt success looked, how they felt the best way to reach that success. And I just got to a point where I said to myself, I was like, I bet I could do. And I said this to Flood, who's now on Southside Blue Hearts. Interestingly enough, he is no longer. I mean, New World will always exist, but he legally is on Southside Blue Hearts, which is my shit. So, life is funny that way. But I told this to him before leaving New World. I was like, I will put money on it. I can do more myself than I did with six of us. And it was a reason I was saying that. And everything that I said would happen, happened.
So then for you leaving New World, just like you said, you accomplished every single thing that you wanted to, especially by yourself without the six other people. It's something that everything you had been questioning, now you're doing it. And that's really what wait for me is, right? Wait for me is it's detailing every single thing you've done and everything that you're gonna do.
Yes, sir. Wait on me, but yeah.
And it's your favorite track off the album.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Wait on Me has so many triple mean like y'all not even gonna know everything that song means until like the end of the year. Like it's some shit that's in store that nobody like I could give you $100,000 to guess it, and there's no chance of you guessing what. Like it's some crazy.
You're not having a kid for real, right?
Nah, he got super close though. Damn, that's kind of crazy. Damn, your brain work well. Nah, I'm not. But like the train of thought that your brain just went through too is crazy.
What were you going through at the time?
I was happy. That was the happiest stage of the album. I swear to God, I was so happy. Like I was sitting there cheesing like this and shit. Like right, like I was everything was going good. I'll just say I got a hefty investment um from a person right before writing Wait on Me. And I was in the crib happy like the album is done. Like I got everything I need to finish it. And yeah, it was like the brightest point for me. You can hear in the stories that I'm telling. It was like nothing can go wrong. Like everything is positive, everything is good. And yeah, Wait on Me, like it's in a hook. Like now I know like at first if when I grow up is me saying I gotta make it, Wait on Me is I know I'ma make it. Give me a year tops. Me talking one to her, B to my parents, C to my nephew. Like it was like I was talking to a lot of people. But it was like just this overconfident place of, yeah, we're here. Like give me some time. This shit is about to look so much different very soon.
Detailing what you've done to what you're gonna do. But what you've done, you mentioned it, the Cole Bennett situation. There's a big part in there where you do talk about him. And I didn't write down these fucking lyrics because I didn't want to I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, yeah, now you good.
Talk about that situation, man, right? It was a time where, man, he was putting a lot into you. He made you the thumbnail on one of the videos.
Bruh.
He shot the video for you.
Intentionally made me the thumbnail. Like texted me the screenshot of him uploading the video to YouTube and saying, "Yo, I made you the thumbnail. Everything is up from here." And I'm like, and this is 2000, I want to say 17. This is 2017, 6 years ago. And I'm just like, dog, why does he have this much faith in me? And at this point it was no chance for him not to be out of here. For all intents and purposes, he was out of here. But if he wasn't out of here, it was no chance of him not being out of here within the next month. Um and I'm like, damn, why is he putting all this stock in me? And I forget what your original question was, but I'll take this as a moment to just say how appreciative I am of those moments. Cause yeah, I had full transparency. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying I had $1,200 in my account total. I said, this is all I have. Can we please do like I don't need all the bells and whistles. Can we do anything with this shit? And I sent him a song and he said, meet me at I forget the name of the park, but it's the park in Hyde Park. He said, meet me there. I believe the date was Saturday, whatever time. I ain't finna start lying. I can't remember the time, but I know that the date was Saturday. Um, I met him there, and of course, because I ain't pay him no real bread, he couldn't do a Cole Bennett shoot. So it was literally just us walking through the park. But he really just did it just so I could have a video on his page that would go up, and it would help the single tremendously, which it did. And then I did the cipher, and he made me the thumbnail, and I wasn't the first or last person to go. Like I was in the middle. Like he literally had to find me to make me the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? And made me the thumbnail, sent me that text, and it was like, honestly, after that, we didn't speak for years. Like I'm kinda stubborn in the sense of if a homie of mine goes crazy on some shit, I don't want to bother him while he's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, nah, go do your shit and I'm gonna do my shit over here and then we can I would rather us meet at the top than me ask for you to bring me to the top with you, like 100% of the time. So, um, yeah, so we ended up doing the thumbnail situation. We didn't speak for years after, but the next time we spoke, it was either on my birthday or his birthday. It was one of our birthdays. Um, and the message either said "Happy birthday, bro, I love you," or it was me saying "Happy birthday," and then he said "Thank you, bro, I love you," and that was like the last interaction, and I was just like I gotta make this shit. Like too many people are counting on this shit. Too many people with status is a cheap word, with cloth in this shit, and you know what I'm saying, like that really have game and have skin in this game. Um, we're counting on it. So I for sure forgot the original question, but shout out Cole Bennett for sure.
Damn, I'm gonna sound like a dick for bringing up these lyrics, son.
I promise you, it don't mean what you think it mean.
What I really can't wrap my head around is, right, the lyrics. You say Cole Bennett stamped the vision, still they didn't fuck with ours. They say my talking hurt the brand, they just too emotional. Of
Of
course,
course,
I'm
I'm unapproachable. Why
unapproachable.
niggas love coaching you?
So touch on that.
A lot of people think that's me talking to Cole Bennett. Like niggas hit me up about that line, and I don't know how that was heard. That was me talking to goofy motherfuckers. Like even like this big media mogul in this shit that's bigger than, for the most part, all of y'all, like stood 10 toes on who Kayo was, what he was gonna do in the game, and niggas still didn't take heed. And still they didn't fuck with ours. And then it was like the reasoning I said, like, to say my talking hurt the brand, they just too emotional. Of course I'm unapproachable. Why niggas love coaching you? Like it was always a thing when I would go into rooms, when I would go into studios, when I would just talk to people, ask for advice, it was always a fix this about your brand, do this, do that. I'm too vocal about certain things. Like everybody knows I'm in the Nation of Islam, Minister Farrakhan's like another father figure to me. Like it was like, and being telling me to calm a little bit of that shit down. And it's like, no, nigga, like I'm gonna do this shit the way that I want to do it and say what I want to say, how I want to say it, and I'm gonna be who I am because I ain't never harmed a soul. I ain't never wanted to harm a soul. I don't have a hurtful bone in my body for nobody. So it was like I never understood the critiques to me, and it's not public critiques. This was me talking to the niggas that I know personally behind the scenes. But the behind the scenes critiques is you gotta change, like you gotta be more accessible. You gotta change the things that you talk about, change the things that you tweet about, stop being so vocal on certain topics, change your branding. You have a very somebody literally as recent as of a week ago told me that my brand comes off as arrogant. How? Impossible. You don't think that, do you?
I think on Instagram, I had a different perception of you.
But even then, so boom, so that goes to the say my talking hurt the brand, they just too emotional. Of course I'm unapproachable. Why niggas love coach you? I was just telling somebody, do niggas go Hollywood first? Or do you play with somebody enough times to make them become jaded and go Hollywood after being played with? And that is the question. Like niggas always talk about Chicago artists turning Hollywood. Oh, they don't. Da, 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 da. I disagree with all of that shit. I think what happens is, which is what, to your point, is you will create and it's not talking to you, but to the people that would run with that perception. You're just saying, looking at the pictures, okay, boom. But people will see a perception and run with it and have never had a conversation with me in their lives. Like ever in their lives. Like it's people I've never spoken to. And it's like you wouldn't even know that I'm a Muslim, devout Muslim. Like I couldn't harm a fly even if I wanted to. Like I don't play with my faith at all. So already there's one thing where at least you're safe around me. At least I wouldn't put a hand on you. I wouldn't lay a finger on you. I wouldn't ask nobody to lay a finger on you. Already. That's within the first 5 seconds of the conversation. Then you find out I love pets. I love children. Like my nieces and my nephews are like the biggest joy. Like my nephew is my screensaver. Like I am Ace. I am not this hard exterior like at all. And I've never portrayed myself to be that. I am not like none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like none. So it's like if you have a conversation, you'll get to know the person. So don't tell a person where their branding is going. Like to fix their branding, it goes to what we were talking about. Do I need to fix my branding or do you need to fix your perception? Because all I did was post this picture with a Jay-Z lyric. Jay-Z is my favorite rapper. If you don't know that that's a Jay-Z lyric, is that my problem or yours? Or is it nobody's problem? You could just ask, hey, do you really got 99 problems? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a cheap ass example, but it's like you could just ask and I could tell you, nah, that's a Jay-Z lyric. Like, surprise, bitch. Like that's how life works. Talk to people, ask a question.
So going back to the Cole Bennett thing, right? For you being so close to the top, being at New World, you restarted the brand. Now everybody's calling this your debut album.
Facts.
How has that impacted your mental state by having to start over in a sense?
I wasn't nowhere near the top. I was near a person that was near the top, but I myself wasn't near the top. Like I've always had way more to do and still do. I'm further now than I was then, and I still am nowhere near the top, or at least to my top. To the starting over part humbled me like greatly. And again, I we talked about how arrogance is birthed out of being bullied almost. But then you have a moment where you have a moment where you create this shell that comes off as arrogant, and then that shell has to be humbled again. But this time when it's humbled, you're ready for the humbling. Like something about being humbled when you already don't have shit just don't sit right with your spirit. But being humbled when you like have everything and more, or at least from your perception, you have everything you could want, you're grateful for all you have, it's like you feel like you deserve it. It's like, okay, I could take this. I could take this trial right now. So that's kind of what I'm going through now is just every day being humbled by some new shit. Even what we were just talking about, like hearing that somebody genuine, like because I know myself, hearing that for the first time, I was like, somebody said that about me? Like I'm probably the least harmful person. Like I would like, damn. But again, it was humbling. It hurt my feelings. Like I'm like, shit.
But arrogant doesn't have to be harmful.
Mm,
Arrogant is you think too highly of yourself.
right.
You think you're the shit and that nobody can touch you.
Mm-hmm.
It goes along with ego. You have to have a certain amount of arrogance to you to be taken seriously. If you do not think you're the best at what you do, why the fuck does anybody else care about what you do? Right? If you are not the greatest rapper in your mind, why should anybody else think you are? Now, there's a difference between publicly going and saying, like, I'm the best rapper in fucking Chicago and thinking it like, yeah, I'm the best rapper in Chicago. I do this shit for real. Because when you think it and you know it in your heart, you prove it to people. When you say it out loud, you give people the opportunity to start to criticize you and say, well, you don't do this right. You don't do that. And that's when you got to be open to, all right, I said it. Now let me stand on it.
Yeah.
But that can impact your mental. You start to allow people's opinions to really impact you and the way that they approach you. People will say that you're uncoachable. Fuck it. If you're uncoachable, you're uncoachable, right? Live by that, stand by that. But if they're going to continue to berate you, then it starts to make you wonder, am I really as bad of a person as they're telling me I am?
Or are you trying to convince? Are you trying to? What happens is people will try to convince themselves that you're a certain way so they can feel better about themselves. Like I'll turn down a feature that's just simply not a good fucking song. And now you have to convince yourself that I'm an asshole versus you facing yourself and saying, damn, this is just some bullshit that I just made. So you really like, and the quicker you can just face yourself, the quicker progress can happen. Like progress can't happen without change, and change can't happen without honesty.
What's a moment that made you reflect on, am I not as good as I think I am?
None of the opportunities were coming to me. And you kind of gotta, if you're a humble personality, wink, wink, the first place your head should go is, I gotta get better.
So I want to take it to mental health now, right?
Let's do it.
It's something that you talk about a lot in your music, especially in the song No Way Home. Immediately, you open with eyes red, don't want to be dead no more. I mean, I might, I just can't say it no more. Maybe it's attention seeking, why I think that leaving from this earth get me a boost of streams or something more conducive.
That boy is spitting.
So talk about the song. What were you going through at the time?
Ironically enough, it sounds very dark, but that's another one where I was in a very bright place in my life and in a very reflective place. Like even if you listen to the lyrics, it's brutal honesty. Like brutal, like you have to be so like you have to get humble. I'm telling you, you have to if you haven't, I'm sure you've gone through yours because your shit is busting. But if you haven't, you gonna go through a this extreme high, and right after the high comes a humbling, like a quick ass humbling, and it's like that was mine. Like I'm talking to, like, just listen to how I'm talking to myself. Like maybe it's attention seeking. I would be mad as hell if a nigga told me that my depressed raps, whatever, whatever, was attention seeking. But here I am saying it to myself. You know what I'm saying? So it was like it was just a humbling. It was like, bro, I don't even think I feel these things all the way. Like I think I've been trying to make this music shit work for so long. I've convinced myself of some of these thoughts to have something to talk about. So maybe it's attention seeking. Why I think the leaving from this earth give me a boost of streams or something more conducive even. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like maybe this is all surface level and this is all just real cheap superficial talk and ideas, and again like dude told me, just the biggest form of ingratitude of all time.
But where did this depression stem from?
Not having everything that I thought I wanted, um not being, to me, the number one musically I could be, not having all the money I wanted to have. um my family had like they financial troubles. And interestingly enough, going through financial troubles, everybody goes through it at some point. Going through financial troubles after being pretty decent with bread. Like like my mom was a lawyer, my dad was the director in a school district and was making like well over six figures, like well into six figures, I mean. Um, and then shit just went south. Like that's a whole nother podcast, but niggas lost it all. Starting off with nothing is bad, but I promise you it ain't worse than starting off with something and then going to nothing. I promise you. It was affecting me mentally because I'm like, now I have like I went from a place where I had a net. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a safety net. If all else failed, I would be good financially. Like I would be fine. You know what I'm saying? I would get a job, I would do this, that, and the third. And then out of nowhere, I it flipped and it came to a place where not only will I not be fine, but if I don't get this shit done, everybody around me suffers.
How do you feel like a track like No Way Home helped you grow past that?
Sometimes we have trouble looking at ourselves in the mirrors um as human beings. No Way Home not only helped me, but it forced me to look at myself in the mirror and say it's not that serious. So yeah, that whole track is like when I listen back, I get more out of listening back to it than I did out of writing it. Because a lot of times God, speaking for myself, God will literally like just take hold of my body, bro. Um and I'll look up and a song is done and it's like I can't relate to none of that shit. But I'll put it out or I'll put it on wax and it's like over time it begins to develop meaning to me. And No Way Home is like that. Like listening back, I'm like, damn, I said that shit. Like, wow.
But this ideation of suicide has been a constant throughout your music. So why do you feel like that was almost the only way out?
Anybody who has experienced it knows where you go to mentally. It's very hard to explain the place, but I liken it unto like a black hole. Like it's a place where you could give me $1 million and it wouldn't change my situation. That's a fucked up situation to be in where $1 million can't change that shit. You could bring back everybody that ever died in my life and it wouldn't change the situation. It's a fucked up situation to be in if that wouldn't change it. All of these things could go to, I could be with the girl of my dreams in the house of my dreams, with the car of my dreams, and nothing would change how I feel about myself. Not you, not this person, but how I feel about myself. And I was looking in the mirror and just seeing this worthless, like just ain't shit person that never really. I didn't start dressing well, not because I didn't have ideas about what to wear, but because I didn't have the bread for that shit. I didn't start dressing well until well after dropping out of high school. Like well after. You should see some of my high school pictures. I look insane. Haircut crazy. Never had a haircut. Couldn't get one. I got a picture where I met the minister, Minister Farrakhan, and my lining is like back here because I call myself cutting my own hair and shit. So, like, just a place where you're in this black hole where unfortunately your biggest enemy becomes yourself. As human beings, usually we can put it on other people. It's like, yeah, my girl did this. Oh, this nigga did this. Oh, my teacher did this. When you get to a place where nobody can do absolutely anything and you would still just feel like you like just a piece of shit, you're right there. Like you're right next to that point where shit may start getting real dark and we'll put a trigger warning for what happens next. Like you're right there. And I was there, bro. Um and there was like I know you didn't ask me this, but what took me out of it was the reason I know it was bad is because self-love didn't even take it out of me. It didn't even take me out of it, out of that place. I didn't start getting a true love for self until like around last year, around like 2022. What took me out of it was love for my mom and my sister. Those two people. It was a few years back, maybe even more than a few years back. But I was just like, yeah, it was more. I was in Florida at the time, so it was definitely more than a few years back. In fact, it was when I first moved to Florida, and I was like, dog, if my sister, like the pain that my mom and my sister would go through. Granted, obviously my brother and my dad would go through pain too, but you know, men show emotions different. I'm like, the pain that my mom and my sister would go through, if I just checked out this bitch right now, like even in the afterlife, I would be mad at myself. So I'm not even like I couldn't even I was at the point where my love for other people could stop me. Some people get to the point where nothing can stop them, unfortunately, and may Allah be pleased with them, may God rest their souls. But I was right before that point where if the firefighter grabbed me, I wouldn't like yank my shoulder out of
I don't want to just breeze over that part because that part is it was a part of your life that was so crucial to who you are now.
it. Hmm.
It's in your music a lot of the times, and the fact that you're so open about it. I appreciate you giving us an answer, right?
Of
Because it's one
course.
of those questions that you didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
But when you take that deeper dive, you want to understand the reasons behind why this artist feels this way. You want to understand why this person feels that way.
Right.
Because there's so many other people out in the world that feel that exact same way and they don't have any way to relate to anybody.
Facts.
They don't know who to talk to. And just like you said, I never reached that point where bringing back every single person that I've lost couldn't fix a certain
Hmm.
situation, that all the money in the world couldn't fix it. But everybody goes through these periods where things are just not working out for them.
Hmm.
It feels like the world's falling on top of them and they don't know how to get out of it.
Hmm.
So who do you talk to? Who's going to be the person that says like, "Hey, it's okay," even when you know you're not okay? And once you get out of that, right? It was fun while it lasted.
Oh God.
So let's take it to the final song that I took. It ends in disaster.
Yes, sir.
So like I said, we're working backwards. Just like you said, you could play the album backwards and it sounds like it's going from happiness to darkness. And if you play it the way that it's intended, it goes from darkness to happiness.
Right.
What were you going through during this time in your life?
I was going through a whole lot, man. The timing is right. It's silent at night. I'm left alone with my thoughts and the concepts of life. I'm just re-listening. Like, God damn, like I can picture exactly where I was writing these things. My homie D-Ro, I go to him and his wife's home and we shoot a music video or like a freestyle video to this freestyle I did called Heartless. And after the shoot, we sit in the room and it's winter out. I was about to go to Cancun. No, I was about to go to Tulum, Mexico. The night, like it was the night before I went to Tulum. And we're in this room and we're just talking about New World. Actually, it was me, D-Ro, and my brother, and tears almost started falling out of my eyes because I'm like, something got to change. Like in talking about them, I started thinking, not saying out loud, but thinking about myself and just everything that was going wrong, my relationship with my shorty. And I'm just sitting here like, dog, I'm fucking up bad. I haven't, at this point, I hadn't even started recording the album for real, let alone mixing, getting beats and shit. Like, I hadn't started doing anything. I was like, yo, I'm just out here wasting away my life. I'm not doing nothing productive to be a better partner. to my shorty. I'm not doing nothing productive to be a better friends to my homie. I'm not doing nothing productive at work. I was working at Home Run Inn at the time, like fucking with pieces, my nigga, pieces. Like pieces, you dead ass. Like I wasn't doing shit worth doing. And I'm just like, yo, something has to, and I've been blaming, in the song it's New World, but really it was deeper than that. But in the song, obviously I can't, you know what I'm saying, give a whole ass therapy dissertation. But I've been blaming all of these other groups and people, and really it's been me, and I haven't been taking pride in myself and in my own work. So it was, that one was, I know I said that the other two were bright places and like they were self-reflective. This one was self-reflective, but it was the darkest self-reflection I've ever fucking done in my life. Like it was like the girl who was my biggest fan said I should die alone, would probably end up married because I'm scared to live this life alone. It was like being honest, like nigga, I I'm fucking up right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I'm going through all of these toxic situations and just these awful fucking things, and I'm not even bold enough to stand up for myself or gracious enough to allow someone else to stand up for themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit. And then second verse, obviously 2 hour long talk with Daryl, that's D-Roll. These feelings is strenuous. He told me don't acknowledge it. The family is the family. Just don't get into no partnerships. But I'm trying to make money with the niggas that I started with. So let me do some self-reflection. Figure out why I can't fit my ego in a room of gods. I carry it for separation. This shit just like Moses Ride. That's to the niggas that's talking all that arrogant shit. Hell no. Self reflection. Just listen to the album. Listen to track one of the album, and everything that you think, you'll stop thinking. Like, this is me talking to myself, like, damn, was it my ego that was the problem? An arrogant person can't make that thought. They can't make that train, like, they're too stuck in their world to even make that realization, to even rationalize that. So this is me talking to myself like, damn, have I been in problems in these situations? Full disclaimer, I wasn't the problem in every situation. However, I was willing to take accountability for the situations that I was the sole responsibility of. And guess what? Even if you're not responsible for it, you'll be surprised how quick some shit fixes if you just choose to like take accountability for it. Even if it had nothing to do with you, nothing at all. Just taking that high road, being a bigger person. Um, it ends in disaster. And even the title, like if you notice, is very similar to the album title. That's intentional. It was fun while it lasted. And the first track is It Ends in Disaster. Like, even though we having these hoorah moments and these self-reflection moments, make no mistake about it, this shit ends bad.
That was my favorite track off the album.
Wow, I've not heard that yet.
For
Thank you.
real?
Thank you. Yeah, not at
Bro.
all.
It was my favorite because it's the saddest. And when you're the saddest, it reveals the true you. All this happy shit, fuck all that happy
On
shit.
God, I'm with you. Hey, fuck that happy shit, boy.
Cause that happy shit's fake.
Sad boy. Oh, it's Sad Boy Radio. Oh shit, go crazy.
Sad
Sad
boys
Boy
for
Hour.
all that happy shit, you can recreate that happy shit. You can
Mhm.
imagine what you want it to look like and how to make it.
Right.
But with that sad shit, you gotta draw from inspiration. You gotta draw from the worst experiences you've been through
Mhm.
and create something that people can relate to. And even with you, when people ask you what your next big drop's gonna be, you've said to them, can I go through something that's worth listening to? And you have to go through these experiences to create something genuine, to
Yeah.
create something that every single person's gonna feel. When you said that shit, right? The girl who was my biggest fan said I should die
Mhm.
alone. Will probably end up married because I'm scared to live this life alone. And
Right.
even if I find someone, I'm scared to put my life on hold and do the work to build a love the proper way.
Right.
I'm scared to put my life on hold.
Yeah.
That's a bar that every guy has ever felt in their
On
lives.
God.
At the time, this girl told me, like, hey, you felt that bar, right? Because she knew, like, from day one, like, all these things that have gone on in my life. I love this shit. I love what I do. I will never, I'm not going to say never, but I refuse to put somebody else and their feelings ahead of my career because I love this shit. I love being able to have these one-on-one conversations with people and getting to know them deeper. When your biggest fan turns on you, when she
Mhm.
says you're gonna fucking die alone,
Yeah.
they said that shit with their chest. They say, "Hey, fuck you. You're not worth shit."
That's another thing that I'm learning to your question of how I've been coping and like growing in terms of my perception with people. Like it be emotions 99% of the time. Like niggas don't be meaning none of the shit that they say.
You learn that you're the problem and you accept that you're the problem. And when you're the problem, you have to realize like I can't be selfish and hold on to somebody just because I want them here. But man, you stated a lot of bars and I wanted you, man, I wanted from this specific song, I wanted you to pick the bar that related to you the most.
Is the stanza about the about like 2 hour long talks with Daryl. These feelings extreme as he told me don't acknowledge it. The family is the family. Just don't get into no partnerships. Like I'm learning all that. Oh, y'all hurt my feelings. Oh, y'all bully me. Like that's bitch shit. It's like, bro, it's pointless. Like we were all young. We were all working towards something. Niggas' feelings got hurt along the way. Get over it. Either cut them off completely or get over it. But don't keep rapping about the shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what relates to me the most currently. And just saying like we could still be like I was just at Flood baby shower. Oops. I was I was just at somebody's baby shower this past Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, that shit is common knowledge. But yeah, I was just at his baby shower this past Saturday. So it's like allowing it to be family, even if the business is not where it needs to be, allowing it to still be love, and then letting the business catch up to the love, because love comes first in everything, whatever you're doing.
So let's take it back real quick, right? That relationship that you talked about. What role did this relationship play in shaping you into the KO we see today?
Damn near everything. Like I wouldn't be who I am without that relationship. This album wouldn't exist without that relationship. One, I'm still actively in the relationship. I think I should mention that just for disclaimer. Like, don't go listen to KO and be like, oh, I'm finna leave my shorty. Like, nah, KO didn't do that. So definitely don't. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that and then run with it. You might fuck your life up. But it showed me the worst side of myself, like literally the worst side of myself, and it also showed me the best side of myself. So it literally like it shaped me in every way imaginable. Like it was things that like it was there was anger and words that I didn't even know I was capable of saying until being in this relationship. Like it's like, damn, I can get that mad and say some shit like that. Um and then there were things that I've done and am actively doing. And it's like I didn't even know I had that kind of like love in my heart. Not that I was a heartless person, but it was like nobody else could pull that out of me. Like I'm not no simp ass dude, like at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things where it's like, damn, I didn't even know that I would do this or I would do that. So I just kind of saw both those brightest parts about me and those darkest parts about me. And when you know that they exist, you get much better at containing them.
And like you said, right, with those relationships, you notice these things about yourself that you didn't even realize were a part of you. They pull at parts of you that you're like, damn, that's me for real. And when you leave that relationship, you close that. You close it for a while until a new door opens. But not even just relationships with significant others, but relationships with friends, right? In the song, there's another line where you say, I don't even know if I'd be friends with y'all if I didn't do favors.
That's facts. Like still to this day, I think most of my relationships come from the transaction that can happen. Like in my line of work, outside of the music, um, I work at Saint Sabina. So that's probably off brand for me to say, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like I said, like Father Flager has been like a literal father to me, no pun intended, for all of my life, most of my life. So whenever he need help over there, like I'm there 100% of the time, 24/7. So But from working over there and from helping out over there and just being of assistance where I can over there, um, you get a lot of opportunities and a lot of being able to be around people. Like just recently, we booked. You probably saw on my IG, we had G Herbo come to like the peace rally that we did. That was me brokering that deal, of course, on behalf of him, but it was me talking. Me sending the emails, me sending everything over, and it was like people will see that and will see what you can do for them either in your 9 to 5 line of work or musically and will choose to maintain a relationship. In short, like being there, like every time, just like you said, dude called and then 45 minutes later, it was like, I'm about to start a podcast. That's how all of my phone calls go now. It's like what like what do you want? You know what I'm saying? It's like talking like, man, bro, how's the family? How you been? How's everything? Yo, we had this idea that we was trying to do and we thought the father of ligament and it's like, dog, like that is literally the basis of everything. If it's not him, if it's not trying to get close to him, it's trying to get close to me to get you close to somebody else, or just trying to get close to me for whatever reason. So, I mean, yeah, that line was true then, but it's even truer now. Like, I think if I never did most people favors, I would be friendless for sure.
So how do you feel like this song helped you grow past this period of your life?
You can't heal what you never reveal. Literally, it sounds like a simple answer, but me saying it, like God putting it on my heart to say it, allowed me to grow past it. Because once I could acknowledge it, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. Ironically, funny how that works. Once you can like acknowledge something, it has no power over you anymore.
And overall, this what this album really is. It's your truth laid on wax and letting the people know, like, this is what I've been through. These are the thoughts that I've had. These are the situations that I've lived.
Right.
Listen to it and see if you relate for yourself. That's how we're
Yeah.
gonna close it. I
Love it.
appreciate you coming through,
Of
bro.
course,
It
brother.
was a really dope
Man, I
conversation.
appreciate you having me. This has been one of my favorites for sure.
That's gonna be all, guys. Make sure you go ahead, stream It Was Fun While It Lasted by Kayo. Hey,
Man,
you
just
still
take
be
it.
trying to reach out to Jay-Z?
Hell yeah. No, that's a damn. We didn't even get time to get into that story. Yeah, I definitely be trying little interesting little things. Like I said, I'm in the Nation of Islam and I'm with Father Flex. So you'd be surprised the people I run into, and every time I'll try to like, you know what I mean? Like, yo.
Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
Broken pieces, who's to blame?